Hello my honeys, my name is Healthy Emmie, and in today's video I'm going to be telling you everything starch solution approved that you can buy at Walmart. Many of my clients and a lot of my viewers do not live in the United States and thus say, I don't have a Trader Joe's, I don't have a Whole Foods, although I do know that there are Whole Foods in the UK. But listen, I have lived in 3 different countries, I've lived all over, and I've been able to maintain this lifestyle. I've grocery shopped at Walmart, I've been at Kohl's, I've been at Woolies, I've been at Tesco, you name it, I have lived off of the grocery store there. And so in today's video, I'm going to be telling you everything that you can buy at Walmart. By the way, I need to introduce myself. Hello my honeys, my name is Emmie. I'm a nutritionist and the creator of the Slim on Starch program, where you work with me as well as a mindset coach and a nutrition coach to lose weight on a plant-based diet. If you're interested in working with me and my team, then go to healthyemmie.org or just click the link that's in the down bar. So if you do like this video, please leave a comment and let me know what grocery store I should do next. First things first, I had to see what tortillas we could find because your girl loves tacos. Now, when you head into the tortilla section, there's a lot. It's a bit overwhelming, and so let me just tell you which ones to go to. Most tortillas are packed with oil and hydrogenated oils specifically, which are trans fats. Trans fats are no good. They heighten your bad cholesterol and they lower your good cholesterol, so we definitely don't want to have any trans fats. You want to get the tortillas that are just made from corn, water, lime, and then there's going to be some salt or a little bit of xanthan gum, but it's not the biggest deal. You just want the ones that don't have any oil, lard, or animal products. So I found these ones. These are white corn tortillas, and I looked at the ingredients and they checked out, no oil added. I also found these ones from Mission. I actually have these ones all the time, so you will see these in my videos quite often. And then I found these other yellow corn tortillas from Mission. Next up, for my oatmeal haters, you're gonna like me for this one. I found some shredded potatoes and some hash browns that you can have. If you are one of those people that says, I love this lifestyle, but I don't like oatmeal, what am I supposed to eat for breakfast? Well, I won't go on my tirade right now about how you can eat any food at any time, but I will show you that at Walmart, they have awesome options for frozen potatoes that you could have for breakfast. So I found these shredded hash browns, and looking at the ingredients, no oil was added. It was just potatoes, and then there was a little bit of dextrose and sodium, and usually these things are in as preservatives, which yes, it's not the best thing in the world to have some preservatives when you could have the fresh potato, but let's be realistic and let's be practical. It's such a small amount, and it's more important that you're eating potatoes as opposed to bacon and eggs for breakfast. So I'll take a little dextrose if you're going to be eating potatoes. I also found these hash browns that didn't have any oil added, and I was so excited that I dropped them when I tried to look at the ingredients, but was happy to find that there was no oil. And the Ore-Ida ones as well, I couldn't believe it, didn't have any oil added to them. In the frozen section, I also found these little corn on the cob pieces, which if you haven't already, put these into your air fryer at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. You gotta do it. It is so yummy. All right, now let's talk bread. People think that bread is unhealthy. Bread is not unhealthy. Bread is not bad for you. The reason why bread gets a bad rap is because bread contains carbohydrates, and people are under the false impression that carbohydrates make you gain weight, and that is not true. Carbohydrates converting into fat in the body is really, really difficult for the body to do, and it's not readily done by the body. When the body receives carbohydrates, it burns them because the body's preferred source of fuel is carbohydrates. It's glucose, which is a carbohydrate. Anything that ends in OSE is a sugar. Sugar are carbohydrates. Our body runs off of sugar. So bread is not going to make you fat. The reason why people think that it does is because when we eat carbohydrates, our body will retain more water, and we're 60% water, so we're supposed to retain water. But when you go on a low carb diet, you become very dehydrated, and if our bodies are 60% water, if you become very dehydrated, the number on the scale is going to go down. People mistake it for fat loss, and it's not that. So enough about that. I can do a whole other video about this, but bread is not bad for you. And let me show you, there is some bread at Walmart that I would eat, and it is the French baguettes. So the French baguettes did not have any oil added to them. And yes, they are a white bread, so they're enriched and refined, and you'd be better off getting the whole grain. But as somebody who's in weight maintenance on this lifestyle, this is something that I would eat. I also found this yuca, which is also known as cassava, and this is considered a starch, so you can just boil this. Next up are these freeze-dried fruits. These are so cool. I couldn't believe that I found these at Walmart. And let me just preface this by saying that these are more calorically dense than fruit because fruit has the water in it, and these freeze-dried fruits don't have the water. So the good news is that there's no sugar added. This is something you could take on the go. It's something that kids would love. But my only caveat is to get in the whole natural fruit and not to rely on these for your fruit intake. They also had dried mango, which, as we all know, is crack, honestly. I don't know how people can moderate their intake of this stuff. I mean, it's just so good. Then moving on to pastas, I found these really great pastas. There was a chickpea pasta just made from chickpeas, and I also found a lentil pasta that was just made from red lentils, as well as a whole grain pasta. Now, if you're gonna have pasta, you have to have sauce, which reminds me of the book. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna ask for a glass of milk. If you give me pasta, I'm gonna ask for some sauce to go with it. And most pasta sauces do have oil added, they have cheese added, they have a lot added. You'll see cream in them. It's like, what are we doing here? But you can get canned tomato sauce, not to be confused with jarred tomato sauce. You can get canned tomato sauce that is just tomatoes pureed into a sauce, and they have one at Walmart that doesn't have anything added to it. Add some spices, water, saute some onions and some mushrooms, throw some oregano, or as we say in my household, oregano in there, and you got yourself a pasta sauce. I also was very happy to see that Walmart carries Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel bread is sprouted grain bread, so it is not as refined as the baguettes that I showed you earlier. Then in the Goya section, I just found tons of frozen vegetables. I mean, you name it, they had it. It was frozen veggies galore. I also saw a grain that I've actually personally never tried before. If you have, let me know how you like it. It's sorghum. So if you're looking for a new grain to try, if you're tired of rice and oats and barley and farro, they have this at Walmart. Now let's move on to rice for the lazy people when it comes to cooking. I, in college, would buy tons and tons of these Success boil and bag rice guys. You want to avoid these, the Uncle Ben's ones, for example, they have oil added to them. So the pouches you want to avoid, but I would buy tons of these boxes of rice because you can just throw them into a pot of hot water. There also are, bags galore if you want to buy rice in bulk. If you have a rice cooker, I would recommend that you just buy a huge bulk bag of rice as opposed to getting the boil and bag ones. Would I buy boil and bag ones now, knowing what I know, being more environmentally conscious? No, but when I was getting started on my lifestyle, that was the step that was appropriate for me at that time, and it allowed me to stay on that lifestyle, make it convenient, and learn how to cook this way. So that was a good stepping stone for me, and it's a good stepping stone for you if you're still crafting your culinary skills in this arena. And then as you get further along, perhaps buying an Instant Pot or a rice cooker, and then buying the rice in bulk bags like this. Then in the baking section, I found tons of cocoa powder. So if you want to make your oatmeal a little bit more chocolatey, or if you want to take a sweet potato, mash it up and add in some cocoa powder to get some chocolatey taste, you could get any of these cocoa powders. I will give you a little bit of a caveat here, which is that there is going to be some caffeine in this. So if you're very sensitive to caffeine, then this might be something you just want to be a little bit wary of. Now on to spices. Spices and seasonings galore. Who knew that Mrs. Dash had this many different types of seasonings? They have tons, and they're all vegan, so go ahead and I would buy them and try them all and see which ones you like. What's really great about Mrs. Dash is that they're all salt-free, where most seasoning blends are loaded with salt. So if you are dealing with high blood pressure, hypertension, any heart-related issues, and you have to keep your sodium low, you'll want to get the Mrs. Dash. Then if you need something a little bit sweet, I headed over to the maple syrup, and I was very happy to find that they do have a pure maple syrup. So this is something that you could put on your oats if you need it to be a little bit sweet, as opposed to using any of the replacements, which are just high fructose corn syrup. I also was very impressed by the little healthy section that they have at Walmart, where you can find oat flour and coconut flour, and you can find hemp seeds and nut flour. So if you want to do some baking and have it be a little bit more wholesome, then you could get one of these flours. Another unnecessarily overwhelming section of Walmart is the oatmeal section, and you just need plain old oats. So I just went and got the old-fashioned oats that I found there. They were cheap and they were in bulk. You don't need any of the crazy little packets. The instant packets of oatmeal always have sugar added, always, unless they are just the plain instant oats, which you can't really find. They have them at Whole Foods, but anyway, you just want to get the plain oats. If you need to season up your rice, you can get some of this salsa. Salsa is pretty much always fair game. It's difficult to find a salsa that's not going to be approved. The only thing is that it is high in sodium. So if you do have to keep your salt low for heart-related reasons, high blood pressure, hypertension, history of stroke, this, that, and the other, then you would want to hold off on this. Now moving on to the frozen veg, you name it, they had it. They had frozen corn, they had frozen peas, they had frozen asparagus, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and then they had frozen fruit. They had mango, they had mixed berries. If you are a type of person who likes things easy, quick, throw everything in the steamer, just like me, let me show you my steamer is always at the ready. It's right here because I just used it. Then frozen veg are your best friend because they're already cut, they're ready to go. All you have to do is open the bag, throw it in the steamer, and you're done. So frozen veg is so convenient on this lifestyle, and Walmart can really help you out with all the ones that they have offered. Frozen fruits are great as well. If you like to have a sweet treat at the end of the night and you like to have something cold, they have frozen mango. You could let the mango thaw just a little bit and then chew on it, and it's a very cold, sweet treat at the end of the night. Moving on to the refrigerated section, this is where I really started to be impressed by what Walmart had to offer. Their produce was out of this world. And just as a little side note, when I was in college eating this way 7 years ago, I grocery shopped at Walmart, and they had a full-on produce section there. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be totally wrong about this, but I feel as though it was somewhat related to Michelle Obama's initiative. I don't know about, I'm not 100% sure on that, but don't quote me, and it's totally unrelated to this video. But anyway, there was a whole produce section at Walmart. They even had an organic produce section. It was extremely impressive, and they had everything that I needed there, with the exception of Japanese sweet potatoes, which I would drive 45 minutes to the Greensboro Whole Foods just to get. For any of my North Carolina friends where I went to college, yeah, I would drive to Greensboro to get the Japanese. But anyway, they had a little bit of produce at the Walmart that I went to, but they didn't have the full-on produce section. But all of this to say that some Walmarts do have a full-on produce section, and take advantage of it. I mean, everything's legit there. I'm still breathing. So take advantage of the produce that they have there. The produce that was at the Walmart that I went to, I was really impressed by. They didn't have as much breadth, but of the things that they did have, they had high quality stuff. So, you know, they had grapes and they had strawberries. They didn't have a million different types of fruits, but of the grapes and the strawberries that they did have, they were very high quality. I didn't see any mold. They looked very fresh, very ripe. And most things that you get at grocery stores when it comes to produce actually are not ripe at all. They're very unripe, whereas this was actually ripe and ready to go. So looking at the produce that I was able to find, I saw a huge bin of watermelons, these gorgeous strawberries for only $2.12. Strawberries are going for like $5 for one of these pints, and it was only $2.12. Then this huge thing of red grapes, which this was about $3, whereas at a normal grocery store, one of these clamshells is about $7. Cherries, I found cherries for $3.97, and cherries are like $7.99 a pound, at least where I am, so that was amazing. I saw tomatoes for $3.98. Ears of corn, 4 ears of corn for $4.47, which to be honest is a little bit more expensive than you would get at the grocery store. a bag of carrots for $1.44, a head of iceberg lettuce for $1.68, 2 gorgeous bell peppers for $1.98. That's a steal. You will not find it that cheap at a grocery store. And 3 green bell peppers for $1.98. Another absolute steal. I also found these really cute pickles that, you know, it's kind of, you could just buy a jar of pickles, but I thought this was so cute and something you could take on the go. Just little pickle bites. And then of course I found normal pickles. And then they did have bins of produce. So I found these big bags of oranges, $4.87 for one of these 5-pound bags. A ginormous bag of red potatoes for $4.78. A huge bag of onions for $3.67. 5 pounds of potatoes for $2.57. 10 pounds of potatoes for $5.94, which actually was very interesting because the 10-pound potatoes were more expensive than the 5-pound potatoes per unit, per pound, which is kind of backwards. You usually get a discount when you buy more. But anyway, I mean, we're paying like 59 cents a pound. The difference is like 7 cents, but I just found that interesting. Huge bag of red onions for $4.18. Unripe bananas for $1.47. But I'm not salty. This huge bag of sauerkraut, which was among the hot dogs. So you're welcome that I dug through the hot dogs and sausages to find this huge bag of sauerkraut. This could go on top of a salad, and it's really good for your gut microbiome, the sauerkraut, and it gives a nice crunch and tanginess to a salad. A gorgeous bag of apples. They had tons of apples. A bag of rock hard avocados. So I would never buy a bag of avocados if I'm being honest with you, because they go so quickly. They're ripe for 6 hours and then they're too brown, and before that they're rock hard. So 4 of them, I'm not gonna eat 4 of them in one day. So I'm more of a single avocado kind of gal. But if you live with other people, this might be a good option. A bag of limes and a bag of lemons for $2.97 for the limes, and then $4.12 for the lemons. And then this huge bag of very high quality apples and oranges. And this was $5.97. Let me know what grocery store I should do next. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in my next video.